It's a beautiful day when I am doing this reel. You may hear some background noise. My neighbor is building a new deck, so just an FYI, I'm on my screened porch. It's late afternoon. But, I was thinking yesterday I had a small window of time after I finished writing a blog post before I was going to go teach my yin yoga class. And I really need some cardio. So I decided to go out and take a really quick, fast walk. But there was a bush in my yard that was driving me insane. It's a camellia bush, which borders my and one of my neighbor's yards. And I'm not a green thumb. I don't know a lot about plants, but there's been this weedy type of thing that's been growing up in the middle of this bush. And whatever this thing is, it gets very tall and it just looks pretty bad. So I took some time in that hour, besides taking a walk, to whack that bush, to prune it. I got rid of the weedy thing, at least the top of it that was towering above the rest of the bush, trimmed the bush up where it actually looks pretty good, and I'm going to post the picture in the comments section of my trimmings, if you will. And, I just sat there and I started thinking about a recent holy yoga session that I did. Actually, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, on the I am statements of Jesus. And we started out in the book of Exodus where God tells Moses to tell the people that I am sent him. And then we moved into the Gospel of John where we find the I am statements of Christ. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the good shepherd. And one of those declarations is I am the vine, you are the branches, and without me you can do nothing. And I started thinking about that. I think about that passage of scripture a lot. How those of us who are Christians and are supposed to be living out our faith have to cling to the vine in order to be that vessel that does God's work in the world. And I was also thinking about growth and growing pains. Growing pains are real. When we're children, our bones might hurt. We wake up and our bones hurt. And it's because they're literally growing. Those are growing pains. But we also have growing pains in our lives. Sometimes things were thrown at us that we're completely not expecting. And it forces us into a place of really painful growth. And the key to that growth is you have to work through the pain. I know this all too well this year. So if you've followed my journey a little bit, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm still dealing with a little bit of shock, anger, which could have all been avoided. And I am happy to say that I am growing a lot, and it has not been without a lot of pain. But when you can work through that, even if you still have pain and other things to work through, you can still experience great growth, spiritually especially. When you just have to lean on God and lean on your friends. You can experience growth by opening yourself up to new opportunities, new friendships, which can be really beautiful. It may not take away that hurt that you're still working through. And I just want to say this. We can have joy in our lives. We should always have joy. That's an underlying current. We may not always be happy, but we should always have joy. But we can be happy, we can have joy, and we can still have to navigate some serious emotional pain. I mean, that's just a fact of life. And we all need pruning. We need pruning. And whether we want to admit it or not, even in situations like I went through at the beginning of this year, the end of last year, where I was just hit with something completely unexpected. I did not see that coming, but it was the way it was done. It wasn't so much that it happened, it was how it was done. You just, once you get through your bottoming out and you work through the pain, you can start to open yourself back up again. We need pruning. I have a bush in my yard, actually a couple of bushes, and one is an azalea bush that my late husband planted. And several winters ago, we had a blizzard here in Virginia Beach, And that bush was practically bent all the way over. And when spring came, the bush wasn't very pretty. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to have to uproot it. And right before I came close to uprooting it, I just decided to whack the heck out of it. And I chopped it back to almost nothing. And then within 2 years, it bloomed into this beautiful azalea bush that I actually think may be prettier than the way it originally was. But it took my doing some heavy duty pruning for that growth to happen. We have to cling to the vine in our lives, whether we're in pain or not. And many times we need to be pruned, whether we admit that or not. I would be lying to you if I said that in a very long-term relationship I was in, I didn't need pruning, because I did need pruning. I just wish it had happened in a different way. And that's the anger that you have to work through. Just some food for thought. I'll leave you a picture of my clippings from yesterday. I am not for hire for your yard work. I don't think you'd want to hire me for that. But I would like for you to think about your own growth and where you may need to be pruned. It's hard. It's painful. But here's the thing. There can be great growth and even great happiness moving through that and just having the dead parts of whatever it is chopped away. Hope that makes sense. Hope you have a great day. And if you need to be pruned, don't worry about the pain. You'll get through it. Lean on God, cling to the vine, cling to your friends. You'll get through it, and you'll be a better person. Hope you have a great day.